Just go talk to her, you pussy.
The last girl you had sex with was 55 years old.
Fuck you, dude. Don't bring Jane into this.
Until they pretended to be cops.
People actually think we're cops.
This one over here is hot. Open.
What if you made your own rules?
Oh, what do we have here? Oh, marijuana.
It is good to be cops.
What if you could get away with anything?
This is a police baton. I can whack the fuck out of a suspect. You're a fucking idiot.
On August 13th.
All units, domestic disturbance in progress.
Yes, let's get in the shit. No.
3 females, early 20s, possibly intoxicated.
Oh, that sounds sweet.
Be careful what you wish for.
Well, I'm out. Stop it! Give me the relax! Control the situation! That's what you get! That's what you get!
Let's be cops. Rated R. August 13th.
Yeah, you can pretty much tell we're in the beginnings of the dumping weeks between August and September. The weeks when the studios put out a movie they don't believe in, and so they put it out there, and people think that they're going to see something really good, and it's not. Welcome to Time About the Movies, everybody. Today we are taking a look at the 3 films of August 15, 2014. All winners, by the way. And by winners, I mean real losers. Starting with our first movie, Let's Be Cops. This one, 2 struggling pals, played by Jake Johnson and Damon Wayans Jr., dress as police officers for a costume party and become neighborhood sensations. But when these newly minted heroes get tangled in a real-life web of mobsters and dirty detectives, they must put their fake badges on the line. And yeah, other than Neighbors and 22 Jump Street, it has been a pretty weak summer for R-rated comedies. I mean, the year before, there were so many good ones. You know, We're the Millers, This Is the End, Kevin Hart, Let Me Explain, The World's End. This year, yeah, everything's ranged from meh to oh fuck you. And this one is just meh. I mean, it's a movie where it's just like, I didn't hate it, but I don't love it either. It's another one of those movies, kind of like Sex Tape, where the main characters are way too stupid for their own good. But, you know, at least in Sex Tape, the main characters were, at least in this movie, they're more saner compared to the 2 in Sex Tape, who just keep making stupid decisions, like bringing their kids along for the ride here, but at the same time, Johnson and Wayans Jr. do work off each other very well in the same way the characters on New Girl play off each other very well. And keep in mind, Damon Wayans Jr. was somebody who was going to be on New Girl, but then he then got on Happy Endings, and you know he was replaced by Lamont Morris. But these two do work off each other very well here. I mean, the fact that I've laughed more than once in this movie makes this a much better movie than Sex Tape. But then again, really isn't saying a whole lot. It falls into predictable buddy cop comedy territory and just ends up failing on every level, not giving us anything we haven't seen done to death before in other films. I mean, this makes Ride Along seem like a masterpiece, and I liked Ride Along, and I thought that was a much better movie than this was, but the biggest problem with the movie is the fact that you've got all these good comedic talents in here. Not just comedic talent, but also some television actors and notable names as well. You got Andy Garcia, Rob Riggle, Nina Dobrev, Keegan-Michael Key, James Darcy, John LaJoy, Natasha Leggero. I mean, these are all very funny people, but they're there to be stock characters. Nina Dobrev's there to be the love interest to Jake Johnson's character. You got all the characters that you're very familiar with. I mean, you got Natasha Leggero playing the stripper role again, because apparently we've only seen that one episode of It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia, and everyone just said, "Fuck it, we're gonna make her that's her character from this point forward," even though that is not her at all. But yeah, a lot of this I think is contributed to Luke Greenfield, as a guy who. He's only made one movie I've actually liked of his, The Girl Next Door, but everything else, The Animal, Something Borrowed, they're just bad movies, and mostly because the director doesn't make movies that are different that we've seen done before. Like, The Animal is a high-concept comedy, but we've seen this done over and over again. Something Borrowed is just a really bad Kate Hudson romantic comedy where you hate everybody involved in it. There's no redeeming qualities in that movie whatsoever. This could have been the savior of a lackluster summer of R-rated comedies, but it takes the pussy way out, gives us a movie that isn't as well thought out as it could have been. And I mean, it could have been another Sex Tape, and unlike that film, I did laugh once in this, but once or twice or so. There was a couple of decent laughs in here, but other than that, I guess I can't really say it's a bad movie, but it just is a really underwhelming movie for a film with the talent they have involved in here. They needed something better than this. They needed a better director to come in here pretty much with this, and it's just, yeah, it's no. I don't even think Jake Johnson and Damon Wayans could have saved this. They couldn't have saved this movie overall. But yeah, it's a bad movie overall. But like I said, it's bad, but not the worst ever. That's what I'm trying to say. I miscombobulated my whole thing right there. But Believe me, it's better than, it certainly is a lot better than the next movie we have, and yeah. How about we take a franchise that started off as an R-rated series and make a PG-13 movie out of it so we can bring the families involved in it? Expendables 3.
With this much muscle in one movie, you need to see it on the big screen.
This will solve all your problems.
The Expendables 3, rated 13, now playing in theaters.
Yeah, we can bring in the kids, grandma, grandpa, the puppies, and all that. Let's bring them all in here for this movie that started off as literally an R-rated franchise of violence and gore featuring, well, not even violence and gore, like violence and action with all these big stars from the day. And, yeah, this movie follows the mercenary group known as the Expendables as they come into conflict with a ruthless arms dealer played by Mel Gibson, the Expendables co-founder, who is determined to destroy the team. It features the return of Stallone, Statham, Jet Li, Dolph Lundgren, Randy Couture, Terry Crews, and Arnold Schwarzenegger, and new along with the ride are Kellen Lutz, who I guess they were trying to make the next big thing because he was in The Legend of Hercules, which backfired miserably. At least this one was tolerable than that film. Ronda Rousey, Glenn Powell, one of the movies I completely forgot he was in this one. Victor Ortiz, Robert Davi, Kelsey Grammer, Wesley Snipes, the aforementioned Mel Gibson, Antonio Banderas, and Harrison Ford. And I like the first two Expendable movies. They're fun, over-the-top movies, especially the second one, with that awesome last action sequence. However, this one's expectations were incredibly low, solely because of the fact that it's a PG-13 movie. And according to Stallone, he was aiming for a PG-13 rating because he wants the franchise to be reached out to a younger and broader audience. I should say, like he was saying, yeah, you know, I want the franchise to be reached out to a younger, broader audience. I apologize for butchering your accent, Stallone, but that's just how you talk, man. But, hey, I mean, it worked back in the 80s. I mean, Rambo became a kid's show. I mean, we had a RoboCop TV series. Police Academy had a TV series. Those are all R-rated movies. And, by the way, the Police Academy TV series, I've been watching a couple episodes on MeTV Tunes. It's for the last couple of weeks. Actually, not as bad as I remember it being. I actually thought this is actually not that bad. It's much funnier than the Police Academy movie. So that should tell you something right there, but completely getting off subject here. But, I mean, that statement alone perfectly explains what's wrong with this movie. The fact that this is being aimed for young audiences points out what's wrong with the film. These are supposed to be movies aimed for people who grew up with the 80s and 90s action movies that these guys were in. This is not made for the target audience of Twilight and the Hunger Games. And so we're going to bring all these people from Twilight and the Hunger Games in here, and these young group of people in here. Like, I mean, what a hypocritical term for one of the pioneer action stars of the 80s. And like I said, it's not that the movie is bad, but when you have somebody who's made a living off of these 80s movies, 80s action films, it's hard to enjoy this without feeling a little gypped. And the fact that it's PG-13 definitely hurts because instead of those spectacular action sequences very reminiscent of the 80s and 90s, we get some of the fakest looking action sequences ever. No joke. There are scenes where people getting shot and it looks like baby powder is flying out. Like, they literally splatter baby powder in this instead of actual CG, instead of actual blood. Like, I mean, the action sequences use way too much CGI, and in this one in particular, it feels fake as all hell. Like, no effort was put into this whatsoever. The only thing I can say that works with it are the characters and the dialogue they have. There's still that good camaraderie between everybody. You know, Stallone and Kelsey Grammer have some good moments on screen, so does Jason Statham and Wesley Snipes. Antonio Banderas is pretty good in here, so is Ford and Schwarzenegger. You know, I kind of like Ronda Rousey in here. You know, she's gotten a bad rap since then, but there was a time when she could have legitimately been a decent actress overall. Like, I gotta say, she was actually pretty good in here. The best thing about the movie overall is Mel Gibson as the bad guy. I mean, it just is a role that Gibson just sinks his teeth into and just knocks it out of the park. He's the one thing you take away from this movie that's really enjoyable. And he's easily the best villain this franchise has had, honestly. Like I said, it's not a bad movie. It's just very underwhelming. A lot of it is that PG-13 rating. And look, it didn't need a PG-13 rating. These movies are made specifically for people who love those R-rated action films of the 80s and 90s, starring these guys. They're not meant to be made by the same audience that would go and see Guardians of the Galaxy and Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I mean, like, it's a waste of a movie that could have been something good, but it just really feels like it's a joke. And, yeah. But, to its credit, it is a lot more enjoyable than Expendables 4 is. I mean, Expendables 4 is just, good lord, that's a disaster right there. And that's the one that went back to the R rating, and Stallone basically didn't even bother to show up for his own movie. Yeah, that was literally the one where Stallone shows up in the beginning and a little bit at the end, and then that's it. This is his puppy, but the movie is not about him at all. It's not about him at all. It's more about Jason Statham and Megan Fox, who, truth be told, are the best things about that movie in particular, but still doesn't make that movie that great overall. But, I mean, yeah, Expendables 3 is at least trying, even if it doesn't work all the way through. Expendables 4, yeah, that's a true mess of a film, which I covered that film before on talking about the movie. So if you want to go see my thoughts on that one, there's the link in the corner. So, not much more to say about this one. Expendables 3, not that great, but certainly is a lot better than our last movie. And I can say the same thing for Let's Be Cops, but yeah, this last one here, this is definitely the worst of the worst. It is The Giver.
In a world where differences weren't allowed, our community was one of true equality.
I will transmit to you the secret history of the world. I'm the giver.
Show me.
All colors, all emotions, those injections, take them away.
For the good of all of us.
I know the truth. Something can be done. Tomorrow morning, skip your injection.
Jonas has become dangerous.
If you can't feel, what's the point?
Way to take a book that could have made for a really good movie, but instead, you took the young adult route. You tried to be the next Twilight and the Hunger Games, and what a shocker, you failed miserably at it. This was actually one of the earliest dystopian young adult books that we've ever had come out, because The Giver came out all the way in 1993, and it only took him 21 years to make a movie, and not a very good one. So you have a youth named Jonas living in an equalized, colorless, but pleasant society with no knowledge of love or pain. When he and his best friend Asher and Fiona come of age, they receive their societal roles, with Jonas giving the rare position of receiver of memories. Because of this, he has a mentoring elder receiver, later called the Giver, played by Jeff Bridges. They look at the memories of the past world of joy, pain, and love. As Jonas receives these memories, he breaks the cardinal rule against sharing them with others, thereby getting in trouble with the watchful chief elder, played by Meryl Streep. When Jonas discovers that an infant boy named Gabriel will be terminated, his efforts to save the child put him squarely against his society, deciding that all must relearn to see color, feel pain, and show and receive love. Jonas becomes public enemy number 1. So yeah, you know that the Fairly Odd Parents did a 15-minute episode that pretty much is a better representation of The Giver than the actual Giver movie, and that's not a good sign. If a Nickelodeon cartoon from the 2000s is doing a much better job than a 2.5-hour not even a 2.5-hour movie, just a little over 90 minutes, when a 90-minute movie can't even do that either. And this is not made by a hack director either. This is made by Philip Noyes, and Philip Noyes has made some of the best action movies of the 90s. I mean, Patriot Games, Clear and Present Danger, The Saint. I mean, the guy is a solid director, so it's not his fault. The movie basically suffers because, simply and effectively, it's trying to copy the Twilight Hunger Games strategy and failing miserably at it. I mean, you try to take a story that was one of the first ones to do this type of a story, and basically you put it out way past the time when Twilight, Harry Potter, Hunger Games all come out, and you just look like a film that is literally just a copy of what's been successful over the last couple of years, and it fails miserably at it overall. It's not engaging, it's not entertaining whatsoever. It's a bore of a story in general, and like I said, that short runtime really does hurt the film in the long run, because you can't really get a whole story out of this in less than 90 minutes, especially based off of a book like this. I mean, it's just a bad movie, man. It's a really terrible film. A terrible disappointment, because the book is engaging, and like I said, it was one of the first young adult dystopian books to come out, so you could have done this back in the day, and you could have had something really good with people involved in it, but you're trying to do this after Twilight came out, after the Hunger Games, after Divergent. Yeah, it just makes you look like you're just copying a trend and kind of failing miserably at it, especially considering that next month we're going to get a movie that tries to copy the young adult formula, and actually does it really well, but we'll touch on that in about a month's time, or in this case, a couple of days from now, since we'll get to September in a couple of days. But The Giver, yeah, you can give it back, plain and simple. And thus, with all that said, we wrap up another edition of Time About the Movies, and the next time we meet, the shit train just keeps on rolling, because we have If I Stay, which comes off the success of The Fault in Our Stars, and so Warner Brothers and New Line trying to create another successful book adaptation based off of a popular book called If I Stay. And then, this one, I remember how much I hated the trailer for this one, but When the Game Stands Tall, an uplifting, inspirational story about a team that loses one football game, and then after winning so many, and then all of a sudden everything just goes to complete and utter shit. No joke. That's the premise of this movie. And then we have easily the best movie of the weekend, which surprisingly is a sequel to something that's been out for a long time, and yet nobody went to go see it. Sin City, A Dame to Kill For. So we'll take a look at those 3 films tomorrow on the show, so stay tuned for that. But with all that said, thank you so much for watching this. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please go ahead and do me the honors of hitting that like button, that subscribe button, and that notification button. Also, don't forget to check out our playlist, and don't forget to check out the previous episode as well. Stitch commands you to do it. That's my shirt that I've been wearing, but I don't know what I was doing there. But with all that said, though, thank you so much for watching. And whether it's in the past, the present, or the future, I will see you at the movies. Take care.